Remember the 2016, 2020 era of right-wingers calling everything culture war bullshit and trashing it all? Funny how the turntables. No, but they were doing that back then too. They were just much better at pointing the finger of blame at the seemingly hysterical campus warriors, okay? Seemingly hysterical social justice warriors. Like, that's how they did it. It's just so ridiculous. They have no interest in real material harm at all. You have this childish vendetta, and that's the only thing you care about. These demands are so ridiculous, okay? It's so stupid. That's why this kind of stuff works so well when they talk about like, the war on Christmas or whatever it's just like completely made up petty grievances that that must get addressed at any given moment. I talked about it. I ironically even debated Charlie Kirk about this at Politicon all the way back in like 2017, 2016. One of the things that I kept mentioning was the fact that Republicans, very organized, okay, would go to Congress and bully like Facebook and all these other social media platforms to say, you're not giving us enough popularity in the algorithm. You are suppressing us in the algo. But if you actually looked at the data that was readily available at the time, these companies were already working with like Heritage Foundation consultants that were sitting on the boards, okay? Facebook literally all the way back in 2016 had a Heritage Foundation consultant sitting on the board. And guess what? They were already not being suppressed. It was the exact opposite. They were quite literally getting platformed. Ben Shapiro was the most popular guy. Ben Shapiro was more popular than CNN on Facebook all the way back in 2016, but that didn't stop them from hyping up this narrative, developing this hysteria-focused, petty grievance-centered narrative that Republicans were actually not popular enough on these social media platforms. And the only reason why they were able to get away with this was because Republican policies are unpopular. That's the real issue. That is the real issue for Republicans. It's not that they get to say what they believe. It's that they don't want any pushback against it. And worse than that, they want celebration for those beliefs. But there is a hidden recognition that those beliefs are obviously unsustainable with the concept of democracy in many circumstances, and the concepts of liberalism in many circumstances, like the notion that, everyone is equal, right? Everyone must be protected. These are things that we have already signed on to as a part of the social contract. And Republicans oftentimes know that is untenable and unsustainable within the framework of liberalism. Therefore, they get really ass mad when you actually call them out. When you say, that doesn't make sense, I don't like that, they get really mad. They can't stand it. Republicans were mad at people who were posting Charlie Kirk quotes. They were mad at people posting the things that Charlie Kirk was saying. Why would you be mad? You loved it why are you mad now? You can't actually say what these positions are. You have and you can't even express discontent with these positions. You have to love these positions. That's what it's about. Okay? It's antithetical to free speech. Obviously, it's the opposite, where it's like, no discourse from you, please. No discontent from you, please. How dare you push back against me? You're a fucking terrorist piece of shit. Brother, this administration is literally terrorizing you, okay? They are terrorizing you. I know you don't give a fuck about Jimmy Kimmel, and neither do I, but I promise you, you are not getting a better deal here, okay? Bullshit. Okay, explain to me, is your life more affordable? Are you capable of purchasing a home? Do you feel like things are getting better now that trans people are no longer able to compete in athletic endeavors at the collegiate level? Did that actually materially improve your life in any meaningful capacity? In the past, you could at least make this argument that, like, well, I'm a Trump merchandise salesman. This is what I do. So obviously the Trump administration has been fantastic for me. Now you can't even say that because he put tariffs on the Trump merchandise because all of it was coming from Bangladesh. It's awesome. Motherfuckers would be like, you're a terrorist. Meanwhile, everything around you is on fire. What does that have to do with anything at all? What do you mean? That's what politics is, dumb. You are no different than the liberals who don't understand this, because you also analyze this from the lens of team sport. My team is winning, so I guess my shit's better overall. That's what liberals do too, and I get very frustrated with them over this, where it's like, you have to wake up. That's the entire point of politics. You are supposed to make demands from your party, from your elected representatives, and they have to actually follow through on those demands. And if the only thing that they're promising to you is no improvements to your material reality whatsoever, but simply punishing your enemies that they have designed as the singular evil in society, whether it be undocumented migrants that are just simply trying to make an honest living, okay, toiling every goddamn day in 100-degree heat out in the fields, and they get punished for it instead of getting the proper documentation, which is that simple, for the record. Is that easy for them to just like literally become documented workers in this country. All right. If you think that those guys are your actual enemies, and it's not the fact that like your boss will never give you an honest day of work's wages that you deserve, and that your landlord is going to consistently keep increasing your rent prices, and you're never going to be able to actually own a home, and you're never going to be able to retire, like those are the real problems in your life. It's not the random Guatemalans. Wake up! That is the entire point. Donald Trump didn't win because he said he's going to dominate random Mexican migrants. He won because he said he was going to fix the cost of living, and he tied it back to Mexican migrants. And now he's punishing the Mexican migrants and the Guatemalan migrant workers. And guess what? Cost of living hasn't improved at all. Wake up! Stop focusing on irrelevant bullshit. Stop focusing on your neighbors. Stop focusing on people that have the exact same class position as you. This is how they get away with robbing you blind. Two fundamental truths. Politics is about the distribution of resources and power, and democracy is about extracting concessions from your elected representatives. Okay? Democracy under liberal capitalism is seen as a pressure valve to make people feel as though they have an option to at least change, to at least make people feel as though they have a say in this process. But it's very obvious that a bourgeois democracy never yields those outcomes. And that's why there's so much discontent. And in the absence of any sort of real structural pushback in the form of labor unions, in the form of organizing and activism, in the form of like direct action, this duopoly that we exist under keeps doing the same shit. Profit over people every single time. Okay? Every single time. Meanwhile, you still got motherfuckers in this chat going, "Oh, you're a terrorist." You are blinded by your hatred. You're blinded because someone deluded you into thinking that I'm your enemy because I want you to get free healthcare. I want you and your children, if you ever have them in the future, to have a better future. Okay? I want you to get a free education. I want you to get free healthcare. I want you to have decent wages. I want you to have more power in the workplace. How the f is that bad for you? That's it. Think about that. These motherfuckers run around thinking that like I'm the enemy, thinking that we are the enemy. They try to invent new realities, invent alternative realities where they go, nah, you're violent, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're violent, you're bad, you're bad. You want something worse for me. Huh.